Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Zeno Damus, and I'm here with
Q.
And this is our weekly show here on Twitch, YouTube, podcast, all that good stuff. So let's get started.
You're gonna tell them about our new sexy
editor? Our normal editor is not in the house today. She had to be out. She'll be out for the next 2 weeks. So we pulled in a guest that we've thrown over there in front of the editing and equipment. So you wanna say hi, Tim?
What's going on, guys?
There we go. So yeah, Tim's over there on the side making all the screen stuff work. So hopefully, I gave him a crash course like 5 minutes ago.
Yep.
So.
Sounds about
stuff. Right. Like, I don't know if what I'm looking at is on the screen right now. I have no idea what's actually happening.
Yeah, well,
You're good.
I mean, we hadn't brought it up yet, so I'm assuming it's not on the screen.
It's called staging.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to cheat and look to the right, man. I mean, I'm trying to stay focused on front of me. I'm trying to make eye contact with the audience.
Yeah, look into the eyes of the people on the other side of the screen.
Hello from the other side.
Oh, all right.
That's
so
not about as good as Adele. Screw you.
No, no, you don't.
Shut up and bring up E3.
All right, let's talk about some Sony. Sony is skipping E3 this year. That popped up a couple days ago. So, I mean, what's up with this? Let's see. Sony skipping next year's E3, ditching its traditional booth and press conference in a move that will have a significant negative impact on the video game industry's annual trade show. I don't know if it's going to have a significant negative impact.
I don't know if it's going to have as much of a negative impact as the just movie show that they had this last year did.
Yeah. Like, I'm actually surprised. Of course, this is Kotaku, which I don't really care for their opinions that are usually thrown into their articles, but it was the first source that popped up, so it was just the easiest to throw up on the screen. No, I mean, what do you think, Q?
I mean, the thing is, while I do agree the last E3 was kind of more of a production than giving out any real info, I think that Sony is making some odd moves. I think this is part of an initiative we've seen Sony doing for a while now, going way back to some of their practices with cross-platform. And this is your idea, too. This is something Zeno put forward. He kind of rounded it out, Let them know what you came up with there to have me and Tim kind of surprised. Your theory.
Oh, well, no. I mean, it's just... I mean, this is something we saw. For one, we've seen Apple do this in the past, who has become a big... something that a lot of people look at for marketing, because Apple did marketing insanely well. And so they did their own event and stuff. And it's gone over really well. So it could be Sony's trying to pull a little bit of that, since they do have their own event, that they're just going to sort of pull away from the massive events. It could also have somewhat to do with E3 opened up to more of instead of just a pure media pass and so forth, they opened up to the actual public last year. I think it was last year, maybe in the year before. But where you could actually buy tickets to go to E3 and it not just be media. So that could also have to do with it, as it's harder to showcase stuff when there's more people, but just some ideas thrown out there. I mean, they don't really have a huge, and that is true too. Bloodaxe actually brought up in the chat room a good point. Sony does keep losing to E3 to Microsoft. So, Tim mentioned it a second ago. That Sony's production last E3 was just mainly a video, and it wasn't that great a one.
But here's the gamble they're taking. Just like before, when they've kind of went with this whole, we're going to do our own thing, screw you, we don't play nicely with others. Mm-hmm. That works if the Sony event goes well.
Yeah.
But if the Sony event goes poorly, then you get even less press than you get for at least being at E3, and E3 generally always being a big event. Because then everybody's going to be like, oh man, the Sony event was crap if it goes poorly, and then next year nobody goes to the Sony event, and now you're not getting any dang press.
Tim also highlighted in the thing that I missed. Sony also skipped this year's PlayStation Experience, a conference that it held every December from 2014 through 2017. So I'm assuming there's not one for 2018.
There is not.
So
that can't be good because that's a whole event.
That's. And the person who wrote the article also mentioned that this could be that they're just focusing on PlayStation 5. But that still surprises me that you wouldn't. I mean, people announce game systems usually pretty early on, and to give some concepts and stuff like that, and to start building up hype.
Even if it was just to say we're working on PlayStation 5 at E3, you'd think they would at least drop that.
Well, I mean, you would think the December they would have the PlayStation Experience event and talk about it some. But the reason why I don't think this is going to affect E3 much, though, is because you got to think, for the most part, PlayStation is showing off other people's stuff. In their event anyway, they're showing off other people's games that are going to be on Sony as PlayStation. So it is possible that the main people that will be hurt will be the exclusive, smaller developers for Sony, Sony's PlayStation.
Which is bad because now think about it, they have a bunch of people they've isolated like that. So those folks are not going to get the press they normally would there. But the other thing is that this doesn't hurt me because, me, when it comes to Sony, I'm not I'm more of a Microsoft guy. So this is great news in the form of, hey, this might let Microsoft get a chance to really get some ahead of steam rolling because they don't have any competition. They're not going to have people. They don't have to worry about competing with PlayStation.
Now, I'm not as and that's, I mean, you got anything else to say on the Sony thing? I don't really have a lot to say about it.
I'm hoping that this will have a negative impact. I hate to say that, but not in a worse way. Just a negative impact. I'm hoping this will make some of the exclusive studios start considering stopping being exclusive, trying to reach out because they're not going to get the publicity.
But I mean, the problem is most of the exclusive studios have
owned.
Are either directly owned or are tied to Sony in some manner. So
we've seen studios break off before and change their name. I mean, it's a common practice. And honestly, I'd like to see. I don't like console exclusivity on any side of the fence because I believe it limits a game. And
I agree with that.
When they got to go across all the consoles, I think that's good. Competition's good. And when it's exclusive, it's like.
I mean, the only cool thing about exclusivity is you can sometimes push the boundaries of what you can normally do when trying to make a massive platform game because you can fully optimize it to that hardware.
That's true.
And that's the only place where exclusivity really, to me, hits for anything. So, Bloodaxe actually brought up another topic that we didn't have on our list. I'm not a big Star Wars person. I know you know a lot more about Star Wars than I do. But here you have the Rogue One character. And I'm probably going to say this wrong. Cassian Andor. That there's going to be a live action series. Now this I'm assuming will be on the Disney live streaming, or their streaming Disney channel. Yep, Disney Plus. So another side story prequel for Star Wars in the in the line of a prequel. Are you familiar with this character?
I did not watch Rogue One, but I do know that he's from that movie. Like he's one of the I think he's the male lead if memory serves right.
Like I watched Rogue One and the character doesn't stand out that much to me.
I mean, the main thing to me is that it fits that category of stuff I don't watch, which is prequels. So it's immediately out for me because it's like, oh, it's a prequel. And y'all got to give me a sec here because apparently one of my eyeballs has went haywire.
Oh. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely. It's not on my radar. But if you are he is a poor man's Han Solo. Okay, yeah, that sounds.
What they gave us for Han Solo, is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
There's
contact solution in the restroom if you want.
I want them to watch me. Yeah. Watch me.
Oh yeah, no, he's. I agree with that, Blood Axe. He is definitely more grizzled. Han Solo does seems more of just kind of like a gruff kind of. I don't really want to do this. Cassian was definitely more of a nope. This is the way it's going to be. I'm not going to do it. You know, it's if we got to kill all these people to get the job done, we will kill all of these people. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it could be a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
It's the problem I have with it is that they're doing another. It's a prequel of a prequel. So it's talking about the.
Oh wait, so
it isn't Cassian dead? Also, is it once again a dead guy?
That's the thing. It's a prequel of a prequel. It's the events that happened before Rogue One.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. If you're interested in that, that's something to keep an eye on. I've sort of been disheartened by Star Wars lately.
Don't get me started. Here's a real question about Cassian: did Cassian shoot first?
Apparently, he shot a lot.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm all right with it.
So it may be a better Han Solo.
I mean, I don't want to watch anything for Star Wars that doesn't have lightsabers. Yes, I'm that petty. So, I mean, if there is... Now, we secretly find out he used to be a Jedi. That would be awesome. I quit being a Jedi so I could be a rebel.
I mean, just because it follows him doesn't mean that the Jedis couldn't, I guess, depends on, I guess, the time period.
Maybe we'll get some more Darth Maul action.
Yeah.
Maybe Darth Maul will be in this series.
Yeah, Blood Axe is confirming that it is between Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. So
yeah. Boom.
All right.
Darth Maul, man.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so let's jump over to
Paradox.
Vampire the Masquerade. Now, I mean, this franchise, this V version 5 of the Vampire White Wolf stuff, has been the center of so much controversy from all different sides. Are you all right there, buddy?
Daddy got his belt. Daddy got mad and got his belt.
I'm not sure what you're referencing there.
Paradox reigns in White Wolf. Daddy got his belt. You've been acting up. These children have been running wild.
White Wolf, so White Wolf is under fire again, this time because one of their expansion books, the Camarilla, a new source book, actually utilized the Chechny's LGBT community murder, torture, and imprisonment as a backdrop for one of their major plot points in the game.
I want to make sure you got all of it. There was imprisonment and torture.
Yeah, no, I threw it all in there, without it being just blatant straight reading of what was on the screen. So
your slightly reordering of words has completely made you safe from plagiarism claims.
Well, I mean,
who thinks Camarilla? I have to admit that I was like, the Camarilla book. This ought to be an interesting history about the vampire organization. And it's like, wait, what's this? Okay, didn't quite expect that to be in there.
I mean, the thing is, White Werewolf, Vampire, all that has used real life events and tend to be memorable ones that would be in history books somewhere down the line as backdrops. The big complaint is the insensitivity of using this particular one, but at that point, I don't know. I'm at the
really
point
of compared to using World War II and the Holocaust or any of that, though.
Well, yeah, and that's my thing. This is what they've done for quite a long time, and I don't know. I haven't read it. I have not seen the book, so I don't know exactly how they portrayed it. Maybe they did something that portrayed it wrong. I don't know, but I mean, at this point, as much slack as they're getting from everything they do, I'm almost to the point where I just don't know if Vampire is going to survive in today's social environment.
Well, my big concern about this is that question, because unfortunately I'm not overly familiar with this event. So I can't make any comments on how they utilize it because I haven't seen how they use it or know enough about the original event. But I do know that this is not new for them to use history. They write an alternative history where they take history and they put in the vampires and werewolves. And it makes sense because you got to wonder, where were they during certain events? So the question is, were they really exceptionally offensive, or is this a case of certain things are sacred and others aren't, and thus it's an issue because it's a tragic point in history. Because I'll bet you there's probably something about the Twin Towers in one of these books, or will be eventually, because
being that this happened in 2017, this particular event, it may just be too fresh.
That is too soon. Could be the case.
Yeah.
I will admit everything I just mentioned is much older.
Yeah.
Even the Twin Towers is several years past, and then of course World War II and all that.
So it could have been them maybe overstepping a bit because they are trying to really modernize the books, and so they took a very recent event that was still fresh on a lot of people. But I mean, other than that, it was definitely a horrific event, but it sort of goes along with what they do. So I mean, it's one of those things where I'm a bit torn. It's like where do you draw that line? What is too soon? And is a game that's trying to be? I mean, the game's a controversial game anyway. I mean, if you go back all the way to the early Vampire the Masquerade books, in the 90s, they had, openly homosexual and, storylines. They had those relationships.
They had positive and negative characters.
They had those relationships in the actual books, which for the 90s was very controversial to be pushing those boundaries of making, of what they've been accused for other things, making it more of a normal thing, normalizing it. So it's one of those things where I'm a little bit surprised that people would get offended just out of the fact that this is what they've done. And they always push boundaries.
That's what the big question is do you think Paradox is wrong or right for what they did?
Yeah. So, all this being said, so Paradox, the company that is currently over White Wolf, has taken all the responsibility from White Wolf. So they will not work as an independent company anymore, and they will be overseen by Paradox to, I guess, try to stop this from happening in the future. Whether or not that's a good thing or not, like I said, I would like to... White Wolf is not the same company it was to begin with, so I don't know if that's, if it's a big problem. So... what's okay? Our editor is pointing out the
the interesting comments about what they rolled.
Yeah,
there's some very interesting comments on here.
I don't think this could kill White Wolf. People thinking it. I'm like, you know what? Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
This to me does not fall into being such an issue that it couldn't have been allowed to resolve itself naturally in the form of let them put out the book and see if people buy it. Mm-hmm. Because it sounds bad. Doesn't sound so horrible that you got to bring the hammer down and go, we're not going to let them do, because, here's the thing. White Wolf's always been a kind of out there on the edge game company. You're 100% right, and so has the World of Darkness. And the loss of legitimacy they're going to have from having Big Brother rein them in may literally be a bigger negative impact on their audience and products than actually that book. I think more people would just be like, oh, that book was a little insensitive. I may not buy that one. But if they know that daddy's sitting there, like I said, with the belt going, you better make sure you stay correct and polite to everybody.
Yeah.
Folks are going to stop friggin' wanting to follow White Wolf because it's no longer the edgy, controversial product. And it sounds like Paradox is coming down hard. Not like they're coming down real hard. They're like, we're going to now vet everything that comes out. That already makes me think, well, New World of Darkness is probably going to be squeaky clean. It already is affecting my, the street cred. The street cred's already being lost from this, for me already.
Well, in the hopes of seeing Werewolf and all that, coming out in V5.
Werewolf Apocalypse,
Yeah,
man.
which is also, not as... Werewolf wasn't quite as edgy as a vampire was, as far as politically speaking.
Okay, maybe.
No, I mean, as far as graphic content, they were always really harsh, but they didn't play as much on the politics and the social climate and all that.
They weren't at the time, but nowadays, a bunch of nature warriors fighting for the environment would probably be highly controversial.
Maybe. Yeah, I just don't. I mean. And once again, I'm back from V2 and Werewolf the Apocalypse and Vampire the Masquerade back in the 90s, where Vampire was very much more socially aware, where Werewolf was more gore and violence.
Excuse me. There was a beauty to the horrors that I committed in Werewolf, sir. For Mother Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
But the paganism plus environmentalism plus anti-large corporations. Because, the Weaver, I think it's called the Weaver, that was basically evil megacorps.
Yeah.
So that would actually be more controversial now than it was back then. Because back then, people weren't quite on the... the people versus the corporations, and this side says the environment's fine, and this side says the environment isn't fine. So it might be more politically charged than you think.
It could be an environmentally aware or conscious.
And remember, there's some anti-environmentally aware movements.
Yeah, no, definitely. So. That is possible. I didn't think about that part of Werewolf, honestly.
So it could just be, like you said, this is actually giving props to you. This just may not be the society right now for it.
Yeah, the social climate.
Yeah, the social climate just isn't calm and.
Well, and and we can sort of bring this over to. We still got people, as far as complaints and stuff go. We still have people complaining about the Diablo mobile event. Which I'll admit, when it came out, I had my piece to say. Man, that was 2 weeks ago. I can't believe that people are still jumping back and forth on the whole Diablo thing.
And the funny thing is, the people keeping it going are the people that are ranting and raving. And it's not just the way people think. People love to play it like it's crybaby Diablo fans, but no, dude. I told you, I've seen some psychotic corporate fanboy rants of just people jumping up. And I'm like, Blizzard's fine, dude. They don't need a Superman. But they've got some people jumping up to defend them that have been just on a cursing F-bomb fury at the fan base. They don't even work for, we don't think they work for the company.
Well, so it's sort of like with Werewolf, or Vampire, White Wolf. You have people, you have complaints from two different sides about completely different things, and there's really no way to satisfy everybody. With the Diablo thing, you have fans versus it's this weird thing where there's just everybody wants to, I guess, throw in their complaint about something, and if they can't complain about the game, they'll complain about the fans of the game. It's just I don't know, man. It's a weird climate to be a game developer, whether it be tabletop or video game.
Well, can we just make the official politically neutral Dice Junkie response be vote with your wallet? Less mouth, more wallet. Because the thing is that the game's going to get made. Don't buy it if you don't like it, and if you do like it, buy it and tell everybody to buy it.
But here you're also
Dice Junkies response.
You're also doing
Yeah.
the if you don't like it, don't buy it, which is something that you get pissed off when
Well, no, the
when
corporation's
companies say
the
it.
corporation's not what it is. That's
Yeah.
the Dice Junkies response. Because the reason I'm saying though is not the tell people don't buy it. It's more the you can yell all you want, but it doesn't matter more than your money does for getting your point across. You can raise all the rants you want,
But it does lately. Like the outrage
they're going to make the game.
tends to change things more so than
It's been affecting stock prices
because
that's
it's
true.
happening. It's happening before the market even has time to buy a lot of things. You're seeing that outrage changing stuff. So
And that's why I kind of wanted to stop, because here's the thing. There might be mobile people that want this game. Let them try it and see what happens. You know, but if at the same time they don't give you what you want, then stop going to BlizzCon and let them know. Vote. And again, this is not a negative way. This is in a way of, if BlizzCon has half the attendees next year, you'll get the message to them.
my complaint with Diablo or with Blizzard was never that they made a mobile game. That to me that was really not the valid complaint, and that was I think what a lot of misunderstanding was, is people are like, oh, you're upset because they made a mobile game. No, it wasn't an upset. It was that people were expecting a different announcement than what they got.
And the shift in focus. They're concerned that Blizzard was going to get into mobile games, so that not only did they not announce what people wanted this year, but that they may not be doing it for a while because they're going for that mobile money, made people go, but I want some more Diablo. And I mean, that's not a bad thing to have such a loyal fan base that they freak out just at the concept that you may not be working on Diablo 4. That's awesome.
Because I definitely don't want to see people not say stuff when they don't like something in a video game. Because I do, you know, whether it be Vampire or Diablo Mobile, whatever, I do want to. I want to see that feedback, because I'm hoping that feedback can make things better. So
Again. And I need them to get all this fixed before Werewolf Apocalypse. That's the only one I care about.
Thing is, though, if the discussion happens, that's what it needs to be, a discussion, not just a whole bunch.
Well,
of
and
yelling.
and that's exactly where things have been going wrong. Is it's all one-way communication. Like there's people yelling at people, but they don't really care what the other people are saying. And you know, I mean, it's just like we've said on this show multiple times. Like everybody that works with me in Dicejunkies, we do not agree on everything.
Dude, you're wrong all the time.
And he's an asshole, which I mean, most
that's
of us,
right.
all of us are. But but no, we all have differing opinions, and that's fine. Like we'll sit down off camera for hours sometimes, just throwing back and forth ideas and having a discussion. Sometimes we come to agree to disagree. Sometimes we come to
There's a lot of profanity in those. We agree to disagree, but you're blah blah blah.
Yeah, you know. But we also have gone, oh, I didn't know about that. You know, oh, well, that's a good point of view. You know, oh, I didn't hear anything about that. Let me go research that and find out, you know, the validity of that statement.
Especially if I can prove you wrong. That is always good.
But I mean, and that's the thing. Where we have discussions, we need to see that, I think, in our in the game community, and hell, just in the community in general. We need more discussions.
So, all right.
But
now
yeah,
then, what else we got? Sorry,
what's
but Blizzard, like you said, has literally been talked
yeah,
about.
yeah,
too
no.
much.
Let's see. Somebody commented, Spyro or Spyro,
Yeah, that new
Spyro
Spyro.
and Pokemon are something.
Outselling Battlefield 5. I think people are voting with their wallets. There you go. You're right.
So, all right.
I want to be
I mean,
the very best.
Pokemon is insanely. I don't get Pokemon myself, but it is insanely popular.
I feel like an old fuddy duddy because I could handle it when there were like 100 and something, but now there's too many. I cannot figure out the new Pokemon. Like all of this gaming experience, but I'm like, wait, now there's Metal, Ghost, Sadness, like you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
Purple drink flavor. Like, what the hell? There's so many types of Pokemon. I can't keep up with all the.
So let's move to a lighter topic. Dungeons and Dragons releases the errata for the core rulebooks. Now, the reason I really put this on here was because of you. One of the errata changes is on Polearm Mastery.
Oh, what did they change?
There you go. The Polearm Mastery feat, a common feat for many types of fighters and barbarians. Polearm Mastery now gain the benefits of their feat when using a spear.
No, this goes for
We had
both
actually
of us.
house ruled this already, so.
Credit to the man, dude. I suggested it. He did it. We called it. We said, this really looks like it should work for the spear.
Yeah.
So we house ruled it. Turns out, we weren't house ruling it. We were just errataing it because Dicejunkies.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, he had a character concept, and Polearm Mastery was part of his character concept, but he wanted to use a spear because it matched the story he wanted to go with more. And
They buffed the brown bear,
Yep.
but it's
What?
already a brown bear.
Yeah.
plus
Holy
6
crap.
to their
Plus 6
attack as
instead of
opposed
plus
to.
4.
Wow.
But the brown bear was already so deadly.
Yeah.
All the bears. I mean. Thank you. I love druids. I use them to horrify 5th Ed DMs. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're gonna make me play 5th Ed, I'm at least gonna be a monster and play a druid. Except for that time, of course, I'm using the spear. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm legit, man. I feel great knowing now because that actually bugs me. Despite the fact that I'm a munchkin, I am a legit munchkin. I like all of my rules to be squeaky clean. And I was always bothered by the fact that I might not should have been able to use Polearm Master. So now I'm like fully legit. Okay. Interesting things going on in the message room.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like Blood Axe slipping up there, man. You got to keep an eye on that stuff.
So
anyway, now let's see.
But yeah, so if you're a D&D player and you enjoy the if you have the books and so forth, then if you don't have the latest edition, because apparently the current print that's coming out now has these changes in them, you can go ahead and there's a lot of stuff there that's new.
That's something I got to
That
brought
fix
up.
some stuff.
I hadn't seen you with something I expected to see because I was up at Vans and they have the Magic the Gathering D&D rules out, and I was shocked you hadn't already called me up and said, "Yo, let's read this."
I went up there Friday and did not see it.
Dude, it was all over the place when I was up there. Like, they had copies at the
I think it was Friday. It was either Thursday or Friday. It was supposed to already be out in comic book shops, but I did not see it on their
they had it
shelves.
plastered all over the place, man.
Yeah, well, it
Maybe
wasn't.
it sold out.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's not. It's not a direct addition to. I mean, it's a new world and all that stuff. So,
Well, I only brought it up because, unlike me, you've played Magic and D&D, where I've only done D&D. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of be like, is this good to me as a non-Magic player? And then is this good to you as a Magic veteran?
yeah,
So
it may be something we can look at. Like I said, when I went up there, I thought about buying it. It wasn't on the shelf, so I just sort of didn't worry about it at the time.
So Easter egg, there may be an upcoming book review. Maybe not.
Yeah.
You'll find out.
But yeah, so let's see what else we got. We got Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall rumored to leave Doctor Who in 2019. Now this is just a rumor, so I'm not gonna stick on it much, but it does appear that there is some turmoil in the ranks. So.
Wow. What side are we on? Because that part where he said, despite being well received by both critics and viewers, I'm like, that's not what I have been seeing.
Yeah, I mean, that's his opinion. I mean, the critics, it has been well received by critics, and it has been well received by some viewers. So for the most part, it's true.
Yeah, for the most part. This is probably not a biased review. You know?
No, I mean, it's debatable, so it's not something that I was going to worry about bringing up. So,
Well, I mean, I think that Jodie Whittaker is a good actress. From what I've seen, I had no problem with Jodie Whittaker in any of the episodes I tried to sit through.
I had no trouble with Jodie Whittaker. I still think, and this is coming off of 2 seasons of bad writing, in my opinion, I don't think the writing really improved in this season. Now, a lot of people see the new face and all that stuff and seem to be enjoying it, but I still see bad writing, and so I can't get into it.
In fact, I can go as far as say is this. I am a bit disappointed in the sense that I think Jodie Whittaker has a lot of potential in this role. I really would like to have seen some really good stories with her because I like her doctor. I cannot make a complaint about it. She's charming to me. She's actually charming to me, and she kind of reminds me a little bit, like I said, of David Tennant. But yet there's nothing, no dialogue or story that has been handed to her has been as good as the stuff that I think they gave David Tennant.
As far as saying she's a good doctor, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like, previous last season, Doctor Capaldi.
Well, I felt
sort of like
Capaldi
Capaldi.
had good
I thought
potential.
Capaldi had potential. Now, I think Jodie Whittaker has potential. I don't know if either one of them could actually be a great doctor because so far, bad writing. And until I can see them be a good doctor, I just don't know.
Well, like I said, it's just an opinion, but like I do feel like if you handed her a good script, it would be some gold.
Well, yeah,
now, none of her companions have wowed me either. So it has been just Jodie Whittaker.
I agree that she has potential. She is a good actor. She seems to be a really good actor, and to me, it takes a good actor to be a good doctor. So,
sorry, I was stunned. That outfit really is ugly. Every time I get a full view of it, it's hard to take in all at once. It's okay when it's just an upper shot, but when you get the whole thing, that's a rough outfit, man.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, that's my thing is
like a homeless guy.
Still bad writing. So I'm almost wondering if Chibnall just sees sees the nail in the coffin coming and is just trying to jump ship before, or if it really is the turmoil behind the scenes that is
you know
causing,
who would make a great doctor?
or if any of it's even true. So.
You know who would make a great doctor?
I'm not even going there. No, Blood Axe. I have not seen. I have not seen last week's episode. Tim, have you seen last week's episode?
I did, and it's. I don't want to go too much detail for multiple reasons, but I put that back on about the same level as the third episode. I think the third episode was the first one where they came back when they went back to America.
The third episode was the Rosa Parks episode.
Yeah. So the it's kind of the opposite of that one. They on the Rosa Parks episode they did show a lot of American discrimination, while leaving out a lot of the English discrimination that was going on. But in this one, it seemed like they did talk a lot about the English discrimination. So
interesting.
At least they did go back and talk about that, which was good. I still think that, personally, for Doctor Who, whereas this last episode was better, I still think that they should go back to the whole either the Monster of the Week or just telling a good story and not throw in an agenda. Because it seems like that's what they've been doing. But that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
Well, Tim,
thank you for that, Tim.
Yep.
And no, really, because honestly, I'm glad you put it in better words I could have. Because my thing is, the whole time you're talking, I'm just going, what if I don't want to see anything about goddamn discrimination? What if I want to watch Doctor Who about time travel, aliens, and weird science? Because if I want to,
this last episode did have a fairly good story. But it's still, yeah.
the Federation is the true evil.
Yeah, can agree with that. But
for those not watching the video, in the comments, sci-fi stories are better. Leave politics to Star Trek was one of the comments, and that's what we all laughed at. So,
but no, population tire. But no, I do think that the story was better on this one. It's with the limited amount of episodes that Doctor Who generally has, it's going to be hard to see if they can really round out a good series, a season for them with a few episodes and making some questionable choices in their writing.
Yeah, is the major narrative not still going on, or have they resolved all of that? You know how every now and then they'll get into the Time Lords and the larger picture. Is all that resolved, and that's why?
Oh no, there's a lot of things that are unresolved that
hadn't been brought in at all.
So.
We're spending so much time trying to show how terrible the human race is.
We're going long on this episode, so let's go ahead and jump on to the next topic. Devil May Cry announces Netflix anime series. Now, this is from the same guy that's doing Castlevania. So I'm not a huge Devil May Cry fan. I have looked at the story. I have been interested in the story, and to see that the team for Castlevania is looking at this actually gives me a lot of hope into this one.
I tried not to get too off subject, but Castlevania was effing amazing. If it's the same guy, this gives me a lot of hope. Now, it looks like the one picture I saw, though, this is not animated. Is this going to be...
No, it's supposed to be anime.
Oh,
it's
man.
supposed to be anime.
That
In
screenshot
fact,
I saw looked really realistic.
I think that's just like
that's not from the actual...
Okay. No. We saw a weird screenshot a little while back on the page. Well, then, if it's an anime, I'm even more hyped because Castlevania 2 told that story. The Castlevania period from Netflix was amazing. And if they do the same thing with Devil May Cry, this may reinvigorate the Devil May Cry series. Because I already know Castlevania games are going to be coming out now.
The interesting thing about this one is that they are in talks about doing this as an anime-styled kind of video game multiverse. So they may be bringing in other dark, Devil May Cry, Castlevania-esque video games into anime for Netflix.
Wait, are you saying that there may be a time that we may see Trevor or Richter, who was the baddest ass of the Belmonts, alongside Dante?
Well,
I would play this game. Remember,
multiverse, not universe.
Yeah.
So multiple different separate universes.
I know you've got me tempted for that now. I want to cross over. I would love to play a Devil May Cry v Castlevania game. I want that.
Well, apparently the new Devil May Cry also has it where you can get the Mega Buster. So they've got that crossover going on.
God. And it's overpowered, but you got to buy it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's a DLC type thing.
Pre-order or DLC.
Okay.
But no. Sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm a big crossover game fan because Kingdom Hearts and all that. So now you got me tempted for this weirdly dark goth version of Kingdom Hearts with Dante, Kratos, Belmont.
I'd rather just see a good story. I don't know, man. A lot of crossovers get really weird, so I'm always a little weary when they're talking about crossing things over that are pretty different. So
I do mean for a game now, not the series. No.
Yeah.
Pure story from this guy. Because who is this director? I need to know his name because I'm a huge fan of his work.
It's helmed by Schenker.
A.D. Schenker has been added to my list of favorite directors after Castlevania. Castlevania was amazing.
So, definitely looking forward to that. It'll be a little whiles out. I mean, there's very little details on it as of right now. So,
Legend of Zelda?
What's that?
He may be working on a Legend of Zelda?
Well, that was at one point in time, but I think they're still in talks about it. So
I want a dark Legend of Zelda, man.
Nah. But yeah, so Devil May Cry. I think especially with how he's done, Legend of Zelda, I don't know how he would do with Legend of Zelda.
Majora's Mask. That one's dark enough.
Yeah, still. Devil May Cry, though, that's right along the lines of Castlevania's. So
he gets extra points. He used the word jabronis.
Yep.
If he can do the eyebrow, triple points.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, He acquired the Devil May Cry rights himself.
Yep.
Oh wow,
That way. So in his own words, so Hollywood does not F them up.
Yeah, yeah.
So the jabronis in Hollywood. Don't
Yeah.
you leave out jabronis.
All right, well, that's going to tie this week's news and everything up. Thanks for hanging in there for this longer than normal episode. If you're watching us on the live stream or listening to the podcast, we'll be following this up with Random Encounters next. If you're on YouTube, be sure to check out Random Encounters later on a separate video. Thanks for watching, and as always, hope you enjoy.